welcome to an enlightening evening focused on community engagement.
Now, this is going to be about a few minutes. Would you like to go back or would you like to stay close? I'd love to have you back, but I'm going to squeeze you so much.
I won't go on your face.
Okay, don't go too far. So this is an enlightening evening, no? Yes? I agree. Focus on community engagement. And the work you all are embarking on is the true lifeblood of our community. Work in many respects that have been handed down into your capable hands. We all have elements of these great warriors of our past who stood the ground for justice, equality, and equity in a society that we have helped build using our hands. We have inherited this moment where we must continue the building of the world around us, but this time we're also going to use our minds. The Dudley Laws, the Marcus Garveys, the Harriet Tubmans are all of our colleagues. Like you, they refused to be silent when a voice was needed, and they refused to be still when a movement was necessary. There's something truly special inside community organizers who engage. When you look around and you see a need, that's the place where you set up camp and lead. Where you see despair and you see others disappear, you step up because you care. You have the ability to see solutions in the midst of problems. You are the true difference makers, and tonight we are reminded that there's a new generation of generals armed with new weapons of mass production, like TV stations, newspapers, First Fridays, and elite forces to help us win the war of poverty, self-hate, and the divide in our community. I'd like to also recognize Mr. Warren Salmon for his fortitude, for keeping First Fridays an incredible platform alive and thriving for 20 plus years. Give it up, please, for Mr. Salmon. Not that so we can just engage with one another, but we can empower each other to rise up and build a better world for our children to truly inherit. Tonight's Jackie Robinson Fortitude Award winner in community engagement goes to a man who has proven himself worthy of this accolade 80 times over. I use that number because this year, God willing, he will reach this milestone of life. And a majority of those years, he spent reaching back to help others reach milestones in their own lives. This is a man, no doubt, who has shown us what consistency looks like, what a champion looks like, and what courage looks like. Carrying the burden of rebranding and revitalizing Jane and Finch, he has for hundreds of mornings, maybe thousands, woke up earlier than many of us get up, to travel into a community since 1994, to take his position on the front lines. He commutes about 2 hours on the go in the TTC from his home in Burlington to his office. And when he arrives, he doesn't rest at a desk and give out orders. He goes to work not because he's employed to do it, but because he's been deployed to do it. Very rarely does such a large undertaking have its leader on the ground with the troops, showing by example what it takes and what it means to live for a cause.
By example, yes.
Nelson Mandela said on the trial of his life that his cause was something he was willing to die for. And in all honesty, Mr. LaRose, choosing Jane and Finch, must have had to make that same decision in his mind years ago when he decided that his cause was going to be the Jane and Finch community, and that it was worth also paying the ultimate price.
Yes.
Mr. Winston LaRose, the undisputed champion of change, earned the title Mr. Jane and Finch due to his unconditional love that he had for the community and has for the community. A passion so obvious it becomes contagious. He made us all believe that great things come from Jane and Finch.
Yes.
He has planted his roots so deep into the soil of the soul of that area that his contributions will constantly bloom in season and be a reminder of his relentless commitment to fulfill his mission. Simple and plain, he says, Jane and Finch is the place that I love. In a line of work where love is sometimes the only compensation we will ever get, he has given more love and leadership than we could ever give him back. Yes. And just like Jackie Robinson, his service for the greater good of future generations to come will never be duplicated or doubted. His method Effective community engagement is by building up the people.
Yes.
One by one, brick by brick, by investing into their lives personally, and by offering his mentorship to any student who is seeking. I consider myself one of those students. Someone who has sought his sound advice from a man with impeccable integrity, and never once has his word come back void. He is a resource that we cannot replenish or reproduce, which is the reason I believe we have been and will continue to be blessed to have him around because of how rare of a man he is.
Oh, yes.
Having this duality of a loving and a fighting spirit all at once, he has shown me how to speak softly and carry a big stick. Now, I'm working on the speak softly part. But the big stick, I got that part. His way to nourish me and others with his words, to lead by example and to inspire people from all walks of life. His days are always filled with big plans. His office is filled with leaders being molded and mentees taking notes from our modern day Mandela. Witnessing him work is equivalent to watching Mother Teresa feed the homeless or watching Jackie Robinson steal home base. He's a giant of a man who has left us footprints to follow. His presence fills any room he's in, just like today. So much that his name alone carries weight, much more weight than he physically carries. Even at 80, his body frame and his frame of mind are both fit. We are all aware of his reputation of being enlightened, but it wasn't until I participated in his annual birthday 100-meter dash that I discovered that this man is actually lightning. True story. He beat me. And I wasn't the only one, that's why I'll admit it. Having grown up in colonial Guyana, Mr. LaRose moved to Canada in 1964. He recalls trying to rent apartments in Hamilton in the 60s and having doors slammed in his face. Now, he's kicking them down.
Oh, yes.
But he knew the damage of what coming out of a colonial system has done to our people, and he's dedicated his life to helping us right our direction as a people.
Yes.
Mr. LaRose firmly believes that the only way to combat racism is to take pride in our heritage, which is why I set so much pride for him in his spirit when we lifted up the Pan-African flag founded by the UNIA at City Hall, which he helped raise here in Toronto. Watching him relish in the reality that our flag was flying high, that made everything that I took for me to get it there and for that to happen all worth it. To make a man, and to happen for you, sir, who has proven it all and has given it all, we all salute you and celebrate you forever. Mr. LaRose first joined the Jane Finch Concerned Citizens Organization in 1994, which helps local youth find internships and job training, and he later became the executive director. He's also the founding chair of the Kiddies Carnival and is a sustainable voice in preserving the legacy and heritage of Caravana. Please give it up. He is a man who wears many hats, but is most famous for the one he's wearing right now. He's an iconic figure who, to the many who are fortunate like myself, has become a father figure. A man who has recorded just as much of our history as he has made. Even today, with his trusty camera, he's here capturing this very important moment. And every time I'm somewhere, and his camera's aimed at me, I know I'm doing something special because he considered it worthy to be filmed. A man who is worthy of his own film. And he soon will have one. I am pleased to announce that a team of some of Toronto's most accomplished filmmakers have joined together to make his life into a movie. I would have recommended naming the movie The Black Panther, but I think that one's taken already. His accomplishments no doubt go far and beyond from awards such as this, because he finds the greatest satisfaction in the least things talked about. The lives that he impacts each and every day. But his honors include Who's Who in Black Canada, the Harry Jerome Award for Community Service, Humanitarian Award from the Haitian community, Award of Excellence from Humber College, an Award of Excellence from Seneca College, an award from the Black Action Defense community. He's also the Ontario Canadian Masters Champion in the following events: 100 meter, that's why I don't feel bad losing, this man got credentials. 200 meter, long jump, and high jump, and add a Diamond Jubilee medal to all that as a cherry on top. And today, we proudly, undoubtedly present to him the Jackie Robinson Fortitude Award. For his 42 years of engagement in the community, we get to honor him with the most famous 42 in the world, the number Jackie Robinson wore as he broke the color barrier and paved the way for so many others to follow. Mr. Winston LaRose is the Jackie Robinson of community engagement, who has a legacy just as heavy as the bags he carries around, filled with books. He's focused on an area, Jane and Finch, that need to change, but you end up, sir, changing us all. The Lord is with you, Mr. LaRose. May He continue to be with you, you mighty man of valor. May you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor and inhabit the promised land which you've led us all to.
So, on behalf of First Fridays and the Toronto Community Advisory Board, we're very proud to present you, Mr. Winston LaRose, with this Jackie Robinson Fortitude Award for Excellence in Community Engagement.
Oh, yeah.